if we have listeners out there who, write Python code or write R code, and they want to be getting started on using Gurobi or mathematical optimization on some real world business problem that they have today, how hard is it for them to set up the problem? So we talked about how, the hardest part of this is having the optimizer work efficiently. Gurobi handles that for us automatically under the covers. But the thing that is bespoke and different for every circumstance, for every business problem, is figuring out how to set that up in our code. And so how tricky is that? How often can somebody do that on their own versus needing to say, engage with a consultant that is expert at this kind of stuff?
To model like the hardest of hard problems out there, it does take some experience with anything. It takes some understanding of how these particular sets of constraints work, and again, taking the logic that someone says or writes down and translating that into the sort of the algebraic logic, and then that into code, can be tricky. But there are some things that specifically Gurobi and other solvers and other platforms and things that do, what be they competitors or something. There is sort of shortcuts out there where you don't have to know all of this stuff and you don't have to understand all of it to down to its most minute detail. So it is very easy to get started, and it is easy to because it like our simple problems are extremely simple, but then building on top of that, it's yeah, it's going to take some understanding. It's going to take a little bit of work. Going to take some research and a lot of Stack Overflows, some and things like that to really get to a production level type of model. I'd say at a large scale. But the journey there is uh, and this is sort of one of the hangups of mathematical optimization in the past, is that you needed to have a PhD in order to make this journey from basic problem to actually doing something at scale for a business, and making an impact. Now that's not the case. You can just be really good at coding and understanding logic, and you can have an impact, and you can solve problems, and you can provide solutions that are really doing something. And that's part of why I joined Groby, was to help get those resources out there. And so I'm just going to talk about what we put out there a little bit, but there's a ton. I think I at the end of the last episode I referenced an optimization book that would be really really good again to dive into. But from our perspective, from things that we released, I did two online training sessions that we called Optimization for Data Scientists, Opti 101, Opti 201. So it's very, the bare basics of optimization, and then some more intermediate level. The Opti 101 series you can find on our YouTube page. And the Opti 201 is going to be on our YouTube page probably in the next month or so. Um, and there's going to be an Opti, I think 202 is kind of how we're phrasing it or thinking about it internally, which is sort of more intermediate level stuff. All of it has hands-on exercises, hands-on notebooks, me looking at a camera just like this and talking to people for hours and hours, making mistakes like everyone does. um, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a great way to sort of just to take a day or so to really get to really improve some skills. Um, and then we also have some recently launched, I think in April, something that's a lot more massive. So on Udemy, we have um, optimization through the lens of data science. It's a 4-part course. We teamed up with one of the best optimization minds out there, Dr. Joel Sokol from Georgia Tech, and he walks you through everything that you need to know about mathematical optimization, from the absolute bare beginnings to uh, to creating real models that again will have real impact, and and it just makes that journey step by step by step, very incremental, nothing too crazy, all in Python. and it then weaves in his experiences and everything with his consultancy stuff that he worked on the side and stuff that he's done, and it is a wonderful way to sort of set yourself on the journey. And again, it's through the lens of data science. So it's again saying how these two things really work well together, how they are super complementary, and it's a between those two things. I think you're set. But again, you can
Between
do a lot.
the
Yeah.
Opti 101 course that's
Mhm.
available on YouTube now, as well as the Udemy course that's
Yeah.
about, through the data science lens, we'll be sure to include links to both of those.
Awesome. And I think we were saying like how can one person like make this journey again. I was talking about incremental sort of sort of building upon, okay, I know this, now I know a little bit more and a little bit more, a little bit more. Now I can actually get to something that makes a lot of sense. When you're that type of, so not just like that type of progress isn't just for learning optimization as a whole, but it's how you build a model. You start with a very basic premise, a very basic problem that someone talks to you about, and then you build a model, and then you'll get a solution that makes no sense when you talk about it. And that's 100% expected and fine. It'll say, "Oh, put all of your, maybe we can talk about, put one burrito truck here and it'll serve everybody and you'll make infinite, profit." And you'll be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. That makes no sense. Oh, I forgot this type of constraint, or I modeled something slightly wrong or something." It's just building a model within itself is iterative, not just learning how to do optimization is
Mm.
iterative. So you're going to make mistakes. You're going to get weird answers. You're going to like mathematical optimization. I call it like, it's like the best cheater of all time. If you give it the smallest like little opening to have infinite profit, it will find it.
Right. Reward hacking, to take the reinforcement learning terminology.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, it will do that each and every time if it's possible. So yeah, so uh, if you find yourself like sort of stumbling a little bit, like this doesn't make sense or this doesn't make sense, why am I getting weird solutions or no solutions? Um, then that's perfectly normal. The best of us still do that, and it is just part of the learning process.